Okay. Uh, well, let's talk about one more thing first, and then we'll get to my rankings and how I'm upset about ranking teams. We talk about game management in football games all the time, right? And how in
Yeah.
the NFL, like, man, it's sorely lacking. You got all these guys going for it on fourth down. They're going for two. Nick Sirianni today. I'm sorry, Nick Sirianni. I confuse him with Brandon Staley now because of what a moron he is. He's just like, I'm going to go for two every single time. He just went for two 3 times, made it once, right? So that's 2 points already given away. They go for a fourth down at like the other team's 10-yard line. So there's 3 points they gave away. So 5 points right there. So Jacksonville gets, as what happens in every football game, Clark. You think, oh, we got this. It's 22-0. We're fine. Jacksonville gets themselves into the game, and Philadelphia had to sweat out a win when there was no reason to.
Yeah.
No reason to. None at all. Um, the NFL's not great at this. College is 100 times worse. Because it's like, whatever. It's just, I'm watching Texas A&M and South Carolina, and both teams are literally doing it to each other. It's like, how can we screw this up? South Carolina got the lead. They're up 14-3 early, whatever. The game ends up tied at 20 in the second half. And South Carolina's like, at their own 40-yard line, 4th and 3. No, we're going for it. Go for it. We're going to be aggressive. It's just like the other team, especially in college, Clark, they're facing a team in Texas A&M. Their quarterback is making his second or third start. Like, he's a backup. Okay? He tore up LSU in the second half last week, but the guy is inexperienced as hell. So why would you give him the ball 40 yards from the end zone instead of making him go? And by the way, I want to make this point. Very few teams in college can actually get the ball and go the length of the field. It's very, very few teams. Now Miami can do it against all the ACC teams they're playing, but most teams can't do that, especially teams with somewhat questionable quarterback play. They can't do it. But no, we're going to go for it anyway. And South Carolina one-ups them. Oh, no, you're going to go. No. We're going for it. And I just, my mind was blown, Clark, just completely blown. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? So it's just the way it is. And of course the fans are cheering them on, especially because it was a home game for South Carolina. They're like, no, we're going to, and it's just, do you guys get it? Like, I just don't, it's amazing to me how these coaches do not get it. And in college, you can easily lose games because these things can change on a dime, right? Last week, LSU's beating Texas A&M for 2.5 quarters. It's like, LSU's got this. They're good. Throw one bad thrown interception. Texas A&M brings another quarter. Boom, totally different game. LSU gets blown out. So I'm floored by this. And the best, Clark, was Clemson at home. I mean, they got their ass kicked. Louisville went to Clemson and beat the crap out of them. But it was just like, and then Clemson, I think, is the one team who actually that kind of does things right. They're down by 24 points in the fourth quarter. No, we're not going to go for it. We're not going to go for two here. No, we're not going to do that. It's just like, I can't.
Yeah.
You can't teach. And I think in college it's different, Clark, because I think it's like, I don't want to look like I'm the old guy who wants to be conservative. I want to keep the kids engaged, and it's just like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not the coach's job to win games? Is that not what we're here to do?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, they're what I don't understand is, where's the media, like at the college and the pro level, where's the media calling this stuff out? I don't understand this. Like, literally nobody talks about this. I mean, unless it like really happens like at the very, very end of the game, no one cares. And I'm just like, and you listen to these commentators during the game, like most of the color commentators, most of them are former players. They're always saying go for it. And I'm just like, a lot of times I'm like, guys, you can't just always go for it. So, we got to be consistent. What does that have to do with anything? You make the right call based on the situation in the game. Like,
yeah. Well, no. And by the way, thank you for bringing that up, because that happened in this game, right? Texas A&M's down by 7. They have the ball in their own territory. It was like their own 30-yard line. It's like 4th and 2 or something. And, they go to punt. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody actually made a correct decision. Holy crap. Because there was still plenty of time in the game.
Yeah.
It was near the beginning of the second half. I was like, it's fine. You're only down 7. It's not the end of the world, But Sean McDonough, who's been calling games forever, is like, I mean, you're kind of giving up here. I mean, why aren't they going for it? And I'm like, how are they giving up? What are you talking about? How are they giving? What are you? They're down by 7. They're not down by 35. Like, well, I
Right.
just don't. I was just like, oh, here we
Well, you
go.
got to score touchdowns to win this game.
Well, I was just like, and by the way, they punted to him. You know what happened? They stopped him. They stopped him, 3 and out, punt. They got the ball back. Did Sean McDonough comment on that? No. Didn't mention the fact that he said they were quitting. Oh, I thought they were quitting, Sean. What happened? I was doing it. That's what I was saying during the game. So yeah, you're right, Clark. The broadcasters are contributing to it. It's totally true. What was the other?
I mean, and let me give you another, just so you guys don't think that I'm like being nuts here. Okay, I'm totally in favor of like going for 2 at the very end of the game if there's like seconds left, or if there's 0 seconds on the clock, and like,
or if you're trying to come back from a deficit.
Now the Dolphins didn't go for 2 today, but there was still like over a minute left or something like that.
Right.
Okay, at that point, it's like, all right, tie the game, make them go down the field. And it's not like the Bills went all the way down the field. They had to kick a 61-yard field goal to win the game. So, I totally get it. I mean, you could make an argument they could have gone for it, but the thing is, if you go for it and you don't get it, the game's over. I mean, it's not technically it's not over,
right,
because you're gonna have to kick the ball to the Bills. You could do an onside kick, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, the game is over. If
right,
you kick the extra point there, you make it okay. They got to go down there. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it goes to overtime. Like, I get it.
Yeah, you put pressure on Buffalo if you just kick the extra point. If you go for 2, there's no pressure on Buffalo. They can just run the ball and take a knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you're right about the media. I was thinking that, and that's what I wanted to say on the podcast. Like, Clark, we need to get, like I said, we need to bring Greg Doyle back. Can we get him in one of these press conferences? Like, I wanted him to be there after the game. Yeah, coach. Yeah, are you an idiot? Yeah, why would you go for it on your own 40? You moron. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, are you insane? Like, you literally gave, and by the way, they gave them a touchdown. When Texas A&M got the ball right there, they went down and scored immediately. And it's like, you had a 10-point lead. What are you doing? So
yeah, well, and then for whatever reason, the media doesn't see it that way. It's like, yeah, if you go for it and you don't get it, you gave them a short field, so you're essentially giving up 3 points, potentially 7. Like, and it's like, that should factor into whatever happens the rest of the game. It's like, you just gave. I mean, if someone throws a pick 6, we basically go, well, you just gave the game away, right? Or you made it easier for the other team. Like, we do that. But when someone goes for it when they shouldn't, it's like,
Yeah. Or or like they do this thing, Clark. This is my favorite. This is my new pet peeve for college football. They're just across the 50, right? They're not close enough to kick a field goal, right? But they don't really want to punt it from there. So what do? It's 4th and 1. The Rams just beat the Seahawks in overtime. It's 4th and 1. Okay. They run the play clock all the way down, and then they call timeout. Okay. They go talk about it. They come back. They go for it anyway. Okay. So let me get this straight. You cannot get the 4th down and use a timeout? Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
So it's just like the obvious, when the play is obvious, Clark, you try to draw them off sides, you let the clock run down, and you take the penalty. And then you punt it.
Especially in the NFL, I got to be honest with you. If you're in the NFL, I don't use any timeouts until it gets to the end of the first half or the end of the second half. Like, these games are so close. If you have 3 timeouts, you're still giving yourself a shot to get a stop and get the ball back.
You're better off taking the delay of game. You're absolutely right.
Take the delay of game penalty. You know what? And look, if you want to try to get somebody off sides on the snap count on a short 4th down, fine. Don't call timeout. Take the penalty, then punt.
Yeah.
Don't, like, if someone they're not going to get the playoff or whatever, take the penalty. Get your take the penalty, and then take note of this. Get your shit together so you can get the plays in on time, so you don't keep getting delay of game penalties. You need those timeouts. Like, it is so, because these games, I mean, it's just people. You need to understand that in the NFL, these games are so freaking close. Like, every single week, it's like you watch the 1:00 games. It feels like every single one is within one possession at some point in the 4th quarter.
Well, and the thing is, in college, Clark, you make a dumbass decision in the middle of the second quarter, the game can turn into a blowout before you know it. You
Well, yeah,
can't give momentum is so big in college football because of the home field advantage and because of all that stuff. You can't do that. You cannot win the game in the second quarter, but you can fucking lose it.
yeah.
You sure as hell can. So yeah, it just like, and then like the amount of times I see a team commit a penalty after they had a timeout or like the rep. My favorite is like there's more replay reviews in college now, so they'll have all this time for replay review, and then they'll come out and they can't get the playoff. It's just like I can't. I don't. I just I'm losing my damn mind here. I don't even know what to say.